try and close out the turkey toes saga. Damn dogs. Cool weather. They know it's hunting season. I can't turn them loose until the 18th of November. So I'll be going insane for a while. Angela, I think I already mentioned, got me this GoPro. And I've been trying to learn to use it. That's driving me crazy too. The other night, I got a picture or a video of a fox, a red fox. I didn't even know it was there. It was right underneath me. I never heard it come up or anything. All of a sudden, this giant leap, honk, and that fox been sitting there right beside me the whole time. Apparently saw a mouse or a bull or mole or whatever. He jumped out there and hopped on it. Finally got my GoPro on. You can't hardly see shit. I don't know how to. I just don't know how to use it, man. Then a few nights ago, I got a really monstrosity of a buck. Came right by me. I thought I was going to get a shot. Went the other way, of course. I mean, I got little pieces and parts of it. I need to get Francis or somebody to try and edit, clean it up or something. I want to see how big it really was. I can't in the video. Anyway, back to the turkey toes. So I think I'd written a letter to the head of the department. I sent out a couple other letters. Talked to the biologist. I may have mentioned before. They were basically trying to shut me up and make me go away. The biologist even tried to buy one of my arrows. I was like, I'm not doing that shit. It's illegal. But they were trying to shut me up and let me just do my thing and not get involved with the legislator or whatever, but I wasn't having any of that. But the biologist told me it takes 3 generations of DNA to even prove a turkey feather is wild versus domestic. They're that closely related. Which that kind of even pissed me off even worse. Fueled the fire more. I was writing letters to turkey farmers somewhere out there in south central Virginia. They wrote me back. They were getting ready to butcher all their turkeys, so I went out there and got bags and bags of turkey feathers. Anyway, so eventually, I forget exactly who this guy was, but he was somewhere in the higher ups of DGIF. So I wrote him a letter, because I was not yet. As a matter of fact, it was this letter that presented the solution of going to the legislature. So I won't mention his name, but after a phone conversation with Lieutenant Scott so-and-so 18 months ago, I learned that all native Virginia wildlife and parts thereof are protected from sale or trade. It's the wind. Hey. It's the wind. Where was I? This includes the use of wild turkey feathers for reflections on arrows. I also learned that a specific regulation was written to allow the use and sale of wild turkey bones for the use of making turkey cars. That was legislation they passed 4 or 5 years before my attempt. But it was specific to turkey cars. So everything I was doing at the time was still illegal. I understand. I don't know what's wrong with these dogs, but they have taken to a habit of coming up here, backing their ass up to this tree, going up and down, scratching their ass on the tree. They start moaning, barking, whatever. I understand that allowing the sale of feathers could make a market that would jeopardize turkey populations. Anyone could randomly shoot turkeys year-round to sell the feathers for a quick buck. I would like to see if a regulation could allow for their use in the sale of arrows specifically. The time and labor it takes to strip and grind a wing feather, then hand tie it to an arrow with hide glue and sinew, makes it cost prohibitive for big business. Only artisans and craftspeople like myself are willing to make the effort for minimal compensation. Also, I often use turkey toes for handles on flint and knapp stone knives. Since the turkey toe bones don't make a turkey car, I suspect this too is illegal. Is there anything that can be done to allow their sale after manufacture? I am by nature a creative person with great reverence for all wildlife. I try to show my appreciation and respect in the things I make and sell. I want to use every part of the animal to make something, and there are many others out there like myself. It seems to me that a regulation could be written to allow animal parts of legally harvested wildlife to be used in the manufacture of art or tools to be sold. None of the items I make have any chance of curing cancer or male impotence like bear gallbladders. You can't use them to make snapping turtle soup or venison jerky, so there is no danger of creating a worldwide black market. But if I can figure out a way to make a fly swatter out of a coyote's tongue, or a hot dog skewer out of a turkey foot, I would like to be able to at least try to sell it legally. Please let me know if there's anything that can be done. Thank you, Kevin Baker, Monarch Grassroots, LLC. So whatever the position this guy held, he responds back. Mr. Baker, the current prohibitions against the sale of wildlife and wildlife parks are contained in the Code of Virginia, and the change to those prohibitions, such as the sale of the items you have listed, would need to be made by the legislature. As noted in below, the specific section is 29.1-521A10. The relevant language states, A, the following shall be unlawful. 10. To hunt, trap, take, capture, kill, attempt to take, capture, or kill, possess, deliver for transportation, transport, cause to be transported, by any means whatsoever, receive for transportation or export or import, at any time or in any manner, any wild bird or wild animal, or the carcass or any part thereof, except as specifically permitted by law, and only by the manner or means and within the number stated. However, the provision of this section should not be construed to prohibit the 1. Use or transport of legally taken turkey carcasses or portions thereof for the purpose of making or selling turkey cars. 2. the manufacture or sale of implements, including but not limited to tools or utensils made from legally harvested deer skeletal parts, including antlers, or 3, the possession of shed antlers. Yeah, so that was a dumb law too. It used to be, you know, you have people that just collect deer antlers. They go out in the spring. Some of them have dogs trained to do it. And they'd collect all these deer antlers. And they started getting in trouble and writing tickets because they couldn't prove that they didn't poach them, which was dumb because you could tell an antler's a shed antler and not cut off with a saw. Anyway, they got that straight by him. He continues, this section would need to be amended to include the items that you desire to make and sell. Your best option at this time would be to contact your General Assembly representative in an effort to seek legislative change. Thank you for your interest and support. Signed, so-and-so. I think Woodrow's hunting another mole. So, I did. So this was, I don't think he'd care, Delegate Lupasi at the time. And I wrote a letter. That's not a good sign. The dog is right up against my shock collar and he's not being lit up. So I wrote this guy a letter, my delegate, and I gave him some samples of what it was. I think I gave him an arrow and a knife and whatever. Dear Delegate Lupasi, this was March 20th of 2015. My name is Kevin Baker. I am a 47-year-old married father of 3, self-employed contractor artisan, and I have lived in Bon Air, Virginia most of my life. I am writing to ask that you look into the possibility of amending Law Section 29.1-521A10. As I am a primitive skills technology artist, I have begun to supplement my income with some of the tools and art that I make, such as primitive bows, arrows, stone knives, and turkey calls. By way of receiving a ticket when I was a vendor at the August 10th, 2013 Virginia Hunting Expo, I learned that I could not use wild turkey feathers that I had legally harvested to produce primitive arrows for sale. This was after I had previously checked with the Virginia Department of Game and Inland Fisheries to make sure what I was selling was legal. It turns out the information I received as to the manufacture or sale of implements was wrong with regard to turkeys, and that I had in fact unknowingly broken the law. I have since been in contact with conservation officers and other members of the BDGIF to learn the specifics of the law and try to have it changed, which has led me to you. My immediate goal is to be able to use wild turkey feathers, bones that I have legally harvested after being licensed and taxed 3 times to make arrows and knife handles for sale. My long-term goal is to have the law rewritten so that citizens of Virginia are not unknowingly breaking the law. According to the section 29.1-521A10, it is illegal to kill a biting mosquito, trap a chipmunk in your pantry, or kill a mole in your garden. But that's long-term thinking. What I propose is this: keep the sale of feathers or bones in the law illegal. This will prevent the same situation that caused the decimation of beavers in the 1600s and 1700s and the American buffalo in the late 1800s, but allow the sale of their parts after they have been manufactured into an implement, including but not limited to tools or utensils made from legally harvested wildlife. Perhaps an artisan's vendor license could be created. This would bring more jobs, licensing revenue, and sales tax revenue to the Commonwealth of Virginia. I have been told by several members of the Virginia Department of Game and Inland Fisheries that this is a poorly written law, and that if such an amendment were proposed, the department would offer little, if any, opposition. In fact, Mr. So-and-so with the department phone number has informed me that it is virtually impossible to obtain a genetic sequence requiring 3 generations of turkey DNA to prove in court that a feather or a toe is that of a wild bird and not from a domestic animal. So I could just lie and say they're all double-breasted bronze domestics, but that's just not my style and not really the point. Who wants to buy and hang an arrow on the wall with a hand-knapped stone point set with homemade high-grade deer leg sinew on a native Virginia river cane shaft, and then have it fletched with the feathers of a domestic wild turkey from Texas, with a little tag permanently affixed to the feather, proving its point of origin, species, and sale? No one. Yeah. And that is what this law requires. That is what this law is required. It goes back to the shed antlers. They had to document. There is a growing resurgence of interest in primitive earth skills and art. Rendezvous, nap-ins, and reenactments are all becoming more and more prevalent. Turn on the TV and you have Survivor Man, Bear Grylls, Alaskan Frontier, Northwoods Law, etc. I've been making and using my own equipment for hunting now for over 20 years, and there are more and more people leaning my way. They are buying my products and looking for advice, education, and courses to take up their own primitive endeavors. This law, as is going to become a big problem for a lot of people very soon. It would be nice if we could get ahead of it and promote the ethical, legal use of Virginia's natural resources and native heritage, and not penalize the citizens who embrace them. Thank you very much for your time and consideration on this matter. Please let me know if there's anything else I can do. Sincerely, Kevin Baker. P.S. Enclosed are examples of what I make and some of the correspondence I had with the DGIF. So I didn't know really how the process worked. I mean, I was just learning about it. And so I kept calling, this guy had a secretary, chief of staff. And I kept calling, every week or so to see what he thought. And she finally, she kept trying to tell me, I still don't understand, the way they do it is they spend the entire year receiving requests for law changes. And then close to the end of the year, right before the General Assembly, your delegate goes through all of this shit. And I think he's allowed 3 to present to the General Assembly. So finally, this woman sends me a letter, a very polite, professional letter. It's basically a letter saying, we got your shit, stop calling us. Dear Mr. Baker, I apologize for my delay in formally acknowledging receipt of the information you left for Delegate New Posse when you visited the office in March. My effort to reach you by telephone today was unsuccessful. However, I left a voicemail message. At this time, I wanted to take an opportunity to let you know the delegate has personally reviewed the information and items you provided. At this time, we have legislative staff and the appropriate state agency reviewing the packet you presented. As soon as Delegate Lupasi makes a decision, we will contact you again. Decisions regarding legislation for the 2016 Virginia General Assembly session may not be made until the later part of the year. I hope this info is helpful. Thank you for your interest. Sincerely, blah, 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 Chief of Staff, Office, Delegate Emily Lupasi. So, polite way of saying, stop calling me, we'll get back to you, whatever, March. So this thing started, got the ticket in 2013. This is 2 years later. And he takes it up. I was really surprised. It was kind of a political stunt. I mean, I guess it was a general interest. I had a general interest, but you know, he was my representative, so he was representing me. But in hindsight, I thought he knew that this was going to be a big attraction. You know, why is this state delegate trying to change a law to sell a turkey toe? And I think he knew as soon as that bill hit the floor or whatever, that these reporters were just going to have a field day with it. And they did. I mean, several articles in the Washington Post, Richmond Times, I guess twice, and then they sent out this videographer who did this amazing video story of me creating and defending my actions and why I was doing this. But because it's not my intellectual property, I can't post it on YouTube. It kind of pisses me off. We lost the video at one point, and Angela contacted the girl, and she said, all right, I'll give it to you, but you cannot post it. It would be illegal. So I've honored my end. I mean, I can share it with friends and family, but not on YouTube. But it did make a big stink. He got a lot of attention off of it. I think a year or two later, he called me or wrote me back and asked me to write a letter of, he was up for re-election, and he wanted my support. So I did. I wrote him a letter. Wish I could find that one. You could tell I was politically motivated. Anyway, long story short, he didn't get re-elected. I felt bad about that. But I got the law changed. The rest is history, I guess. I had another law I was trying to change. I don't want to talk about it on YouTube. That's a stupid fucking law. But it just, it'll put me in jeopardy in other ways and not worth getting in trouble over. Maybe I'll figure out a way to change it. All right, that's the end of the turkey toe saga.